Just need to adjust a couple of things. Fix this. Twitch seems like it's working. Yep, Rumble's still setting on up. Let me make sure YouTube is properly uploading. A little bit slow. Come on now. Hit. Upload the thumbnail to YouTube. There we go. YouTube's good to go. Let me just double check, make sure Rumble's good to go. This is live, good. And now let me double check my other computers, make sure those live streams are up and running. One moment. Looks like everything's good to go. Yep. So, let's go ahead and get started. Let's do some 1v1s to start out the day with. Get my voice warmed up and my ability to get tripped up my own words solidified. Also want to double check over here. Good. Don't have automatic rewrite over files. That means I can record replays and not have them just delete themselves. And let's get a bit of caffeine into me. Of course, need an alt tab, and I can't do that while I'm drinking drink because I use up my left hand. Who here does alt tab with their right hand rather than their left hand? I suppose you can only really do it with your left hand unless you do both hands. But let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Company Heroes 2 replay. Spelled on the right side as the austere player with Hawk, who's me locked in the Joint Operations Doctrine. One as the Soviet player who me locked in the shock rifle frontline tactics, we have Rezki. Rezki. Either works. We do also immediate support weapon company and it's gone for conscripts as well, so we may see an early Maxim. It may be a good idea to go for a second squad of conscripts before getting out of Maxim. Conscripts heading towards the center as well. Over here, we of course got the MG42 into Grenadiers. Pretty standard build opener. Pioneers capturing the fuel point now.
Grenadier squad is ready.
Now we got first squad of Grenadiers out on the field. Conscripts captured the fuel point, and this point has been cut off as, or captured up as well. I can't speak today. Combat engineers will be capturing up that strategic point. Pioneers will be capturing up this point as well. And we got the MG42 captured this point. We got 2 squads and 1 screen, barely. Now we don't. First engagement could be by this conscript versus Grenadier, and depending who gets first shots and what angle and what cover, and they dictate who wins the fight.
We have a fresh Grenadier squad.
Second Grenadiers have been deployed and now, very nice. MG42 making their way forward. The central VP has not been captured, but he's going to go ahead and sit on up. Grenadiers are engaged by the conscripts, and the Grenadiers are not in heavy cover, while conscripts are. Grenadiers are in no cover.
Soviet HQ now includes a field hospital, but only for those who are seriously wounded.
Field Infirmary this quickly? Is he trying to sell off for some shock troops? That is way too early for a Field Infirmary. I know I love my medics in a lot of these games, but that's far too early. You want to at least maybe two conscripts, two MGs, or three conscripts, one MG. Mortar makes sense to engage the MG42, but he's only has two really viable capping squads. The Maxim here is, of course, a defensive squad, not an offensive squad. So that medic is a horrendous idea. And you don't get any command points for researching the medics.
Mortar team has arrived.
Though it does allow him to get these guys quickly healed on up. Conscripts and engineers working together is an excellent fighting force. 10 men are better than 6 or 4. Though the combat engineers do have better rifles and bit better target size. Of course, they can be quickly focused down. Mortar may get a good hit right here. Mortar did not get a good hit right there. Pioneers get forced back. Maxim's a nice defensive location, able to lock down munitions point, the VP, and this cutoff point here. That is a good defensive Maxim position. But that also does mean he's locking his another squad down here, and he's lacking a severe number of squads. Grenadiers are getting out of medics themselves now, which is a good timing for it, though they are lacking a bit of munitions for it. Grenadiers are engaging combat engineers, and they do get some nice flanking shots there, as well as some open ground shots. Conscripts are now behind a bit of heavy cover there, while the Grenadiers are fighting behind the light cover. MG42 in a very defensive position. And his second squad of conscripts now coming on the field, which makes sense. He has gotten an LMG as well, so it looks like he had that queued up before building the medics. The medic, he doesn't have enough munitions for it, just not enough, not currently researching it. Grenadiers get inside the garrison, does save the munitions point there. He does need the munitions point there, because Wehrmacht does really want munitions. If all these Grenadiers are in the region, plus the MG42, returning back to conscripts does make sense. Another conscript squad is now advancing. A 3-man squad can go ahead and get behind the heavy cover there and capture the VP, while down south we of course have the mortar and conscript squad here. MG42 trying to reset on up, going to a nice, good light cover position right there. Mortar. Okay, he's firing up north. I was wondering, he's able to be spotted by this casualty right there. I was wondering, like, that was probably not in the vision range of the MG42. Rifle grenade fired. Gets a great hit there on the mortar. Mortar trying to barrage that MG, and the mortar will need to fall back relatively shortly. They only get one shot off of their barrage before forcing them back. Rangers get Veteran C1 as well, which of course allows them medical crate ability, med pack ability, which is really not that great. He feels like an instant cast ability on himself, like in Cubby 1, it actually maybe be useful, but right now it's really not useful. It's a very, very situational niche ability. I suppose a conscript's tripwire flare. It's like, once you get Vet 1, it's just spammed out everywhere if you don't really have a way to spend your munitions. Incendiary artillery barrage is nice, but also situational ability, so spam out flare mines would be quite good.
Shock troops have arrived.
We got now, of course, the shock troopers now out on the field. Next, assault infantry, which will help out around his composition.
Good work, comrades. This now belongs to us.
Pioneers, of course, in a very defensive position there. All they're good at that point in time is just draw fire. Looks like the Grenadiers are inside this church, an Eastern Orthodox church. Getting some good hits in now. Down south, they do have Panzer Grenadiers out in the field. Now it's time for a bundle grenade. Pioneers may get the wipe down the conscript squad. Doesn't suppress there, but still gets a wipe. Mortar hit raining on in. Looks like there's a Grenade Werfer. No bundle grenade. Now's a good time for a bundle grenade. It's quite wounded, and even the fence crews even get a kill right there. I have a feeling this, no offense to these players, it seems to be a lower ranked game. Shock Troops, however, find a nice flank there. He hadn't repositioned the MG42. MG42 will need to fall back shortly. I actually know runs into the suppression line of arc of fire and gets pinned. He tried to go for some light cover to avoid fire there, but it ran right into the arc of the MG42. Conscripts are advancing, receiving quite a bit of fire there. We got 2 LMGs out in the field for the Austere player. We of course got the Panzergrenadiers as well. Grenadwerfer and PMD or PM41 mortar raining on in. And got a second squad of shock troopers out of the field. He actually, of course, did lose that conscript squad to the Pioneers right here, with some good support from the Panzergrenadiers. Shock troops and Maxim making their way forward. LMGs will find these forces advancing. Gain some good hits there on the shock troops as he's dancing around. Shock troops can outright advance. Does get a decent rifle grenade there on the Maxim and does fall back. Mostly just getting splash damage. Sure, he gets one of the models, but that's nothing too significant. We do have Battle Phase 2 research. Very nice. Hope he's going to go for the... what's it called? The support armor core relatively soon. Able to get it out. Perhaps a Panzer IV. Though at this point in time, an also wouldn't be too terrible. We do, of course, have the Tank of V battalion deployed on out. And also going for the support weapon center now. So he's going to be a bit of back-teching. As right now, the Austere player does have enough fuel to even deploy a Stug, so he really needs to get out that support armor core as soon as possible. Go for an early Panzer IV to dictate the battle. Grenadwerfer may find a good hit there on this shock troop. Completely whiffs. That shot would have been good if he would have stayed there. Panzergrenadiers engaging at long range, trying to get some good damage onto these shock troops. That was a very close range bundle grenade. Good preemptive bundle grenade there, but was a bit too preemptive. And the frag grenade in return kills, wipes him out. Shock troops getting some good damage on the Grenadier. The mortar may get overran. The fresh Panzer Grenadier is on the build queue. I disapprove of the Panzer Grenadier. Go straight for the Panzer IV.
Forces are securing our territory. The enemy has broken our supply lines.
Shock troop receiving a bit of fire right there. And the shock troop does fall back. Definitely not by the Pioneers, that's for sure. Concept, of course, gains from a good position there, has the heavy cover, so they should be able to win out versus the Grenadiers. And now here comes the PM mortar, getting a direct hit, gets another squad wipe.
An officer is awaiting orders.
We do now have the assault officer out in the field, which is a SMG squad with other support abilities.
Officers can now be called in to rally our troops.
MG support standing by. What do you want, comrade?
Air shock troops and the combat engineers are advancing, trying to engage this southern flank. Grenadiers, good position right now for them is probably that garrison. Does actually spot out the officer as well. Grenadiers are still sort of right here for the time being. They need to start pushing way forward. We got the diversion ability. And right now, the Panzer is getting some good damage in as well. The diversion ability was probably not exactly a great ability to use. Inspiring Aura probably would have been better at that point in time. Shock troops will escape on out of there, but barely. It looks like Combat Engineer may have been wiped out right there. Yeah, he has no more Combat Engineer squad out on the field. Up north, we've got the Grenadiers engaging from the church. There's apparently no windows on the side of the church. I'm not really familiar with this stone church here, but apparently it's not very good to fight from. Molotov does connect, getting some great hits there on the Grenadiers. He will need to fall back shortly because he's about ready to get burned to death. And it looks like the Alliance type blocker will save that Grenadier from being wiped, or potentially being wiped. Got the smoke barrage coming brought in by the officer.
Sector is at risk.
And we've got the Panzer Grenadiers now falling on back there. But now Warfare gets some good hits there on the conscripts. Since they're negative cover, they sustain extra damage. 50% extra damage. We also got this gun out in the build queue. Fuel's being consumed. He's now getting out Panzer IV. The Soviet player has knocked out the Mechanized Armor Company, which he should have enough fuel. See, the Armor Mechanized Company is 85 fuel. Just leaving some about 75 fuel, so by the time that gets built, which he doesn't have combat engineers either way, it should be enough for a T-34 at least, maybe an S-285 by the time building up the combat engineers go along with it. We got the shock troops now suppressed, trying to crawl away.
Light howitzer is ready for another sun.
Panzer IV is making his advance. Let's force back the shock troops there.
What is it?
Now, I do have a T-70 on the build queue. This is far, far too late for a T-70, especially with the fact that he may not be aware that Panzer IV is out in the field, but once he sees it, he realizes how poor of decision that is. Pioneers, of course, spot the shock troops. They're going to be forced them back. Nothing they can really do versus shock troops. And here comes the Panzer IV. That can do something, however. Or maybe not the Panzer IV. Pioneers still need to fall back. I don't see any landmines in this region. We got a nice shot from the Zis gun. Rolls a hit down the garrison, gets some good damage there while the Zis gun does roll a miss. Shock troops are still in the region. We're seeing quite a bit of fire from the Panzer Grenadiers, going for a frag grenade, and got a good hit there by the frag grenade. No response there. Shock troops may go down to the tank cannon shot. Does not go down. The Pinto mount and the coaxial may take him out, but does not
Have
either.
lost an MG team.
Over here, we've got the Panzerfaust now connecting, and it will be 2 shots from the Panzer IV to take that T-70 out. Panzer IV getting distracted by the conscripts. He is wounded, so this 80 grenade will snare the engine. He gets some good hits there onto that conscript squad. Trying to go... Nope, not trying to recapture that MG. Does get fully wiped there, losing this last squad of conscripts. Going for a squad of penals. Maybe for some PTRSs. Got a incendiary barrage being brought on top of that mortar. Completely whips the mortar. Was he actually aiming for the Panzer IV? Shock troops trying to capture up that MG, although he may burn himself to death with that. Looks like the other 2 models made skirmish got out of the radius, and even the gunner didn't go down either.
AT gun here.
Mortar hits are raining on in. Another Panzer IV on the build queue. Very nice.
Enemy forces are attempting
With 2
to
Panzer
capture our
IVs, he
territory.
could potentially take time, once he get a little bit more command points, to deploy out his Lef 18 or his Pak 43. Which he doesn't need the Pak 43 at this point in time, so he will soon have a decent opportunity to actually blow out the Lef 18. We got the Pinot PTRS here. PM41 mortar gets a good hit there. Shock troops trying to advance. Grenadiers do fall back nice and early. And the mortar does fall back, avoids the funnel grenade, mostly. And now this penal squad is getting ripped apart by the Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer IV is advancing. Could have sworn he was trying to throw a grenade there, but I must have mistaken. Can't speak. Second Panzer IV has been deployed on the field, rolling some misses there with Panzer IV now. And Maxim Sandus garrison is still there, but one shot from the Panzer IV could potentially destroy that building. T-70 has been repaired, make its way forward. Why was he force firing the ground right there? Oh, he was trying to force fire for the PaK-43. Again, I disagree with the PaK-43 at this point in time. He has not really need to use, wouldn't need it, but nice shot there on the garrison. Like I said before, and well-placed shot could destroy the garrison, and it did. T-70 cannot fight a Panzer IV, period. Maybe in the campaign they can, but not in multiplayer. Its main gun does 40 damage. The Panzer IV main gun does 160, 4 times the amount of damage, not to mention a higher penetration rate versus armor. But hits there onto the Panzer IV. And the PaK-43 is about to be deployed now. Once it gets silenced at the T-70, it will almost take it out in one shot. It does 320 damage. The health of the T-70 is 400 or 480. Good hits there on the penal squad. The Panzer IV will need to fall back. Grenadier squad does get wiped out there. And now got incendiary artillery barrage there on the PaK-43. No, it looks like it's going to miss again. Okay, the scatter was large enough so it did hit the gun. The gun's also facing the wrong direction as well. Panzer Grenadiers receiving quite a bit of fire rate there. Does get fully pinned. Grenadiers should be able to displace the captured MG42. They do not. T-70 could potentially wipe out the Grenadier squad. That's super wounded. You got a fresh regular Grenadier squad deployed out on the field. He needs to recapture, of course, the PaK-43. Since he built it, might as well use it. The PaK-43 has been reclaimed.
Enemy is taking our territory.
Pioneers awaiting orders.
More and more mortar hits are raining on in. The Grenada the PM-41 maybe eyeing for counter barrage on this mortar squad. Or nope, hitting the PaK-43. Both mortar teams have Veteran C2. This Panzer IV still needs repairs. You can also, of course, can deploy repair stations thanks to his doctrinal ability. The Panzer squad is getting ripped apart by the Shock Trooper squad. Greatest there on the PaK-43. Down south, of course, still at the T-70 in a very defensive position next to a blood river, I guess. Very red river. Got the diversion ability not being utilized. Does receive a frag grenade, but does dodge it mostly. Grenadier should be able to get some great damage there on that shock troop. The assault officer cannot stick around versus that shock troop at point blank range. That's why he's keeping it more of a mid range into light cover. Good Grenade Warfare hit there. Shock troops are receiving some good suppression there. We do got smoke rounds being deployed by the Grenade Warfare. Is smoking out his opponent, but there's a line of sight blocker in this one that's MG42. That's why it wasn't firing. As smoke is more detrimental than good for the Wehrmacht player. T-70 starting the advance. This Panzer IV still is not receiving any repairs. Pak 43 finds a direct hit there on the T-70. Nothing pursued of T-70. Tried to use a barrage on top of the Zis gun. It was unsuccessful. You got the MG42 now repositioning there. May see a bundle grenade there. It is Shark Troop models here, but they have good armor, not target size. And does get that wiped out there. Shock Troops and Penal Squads advancing. Does find the MG42. May see a smoke grenade from the Shock Troops as the assault starts advancing. Great Grenade Warfare hit there. Now got the diversion fire ability right there. Now got also the heavy mortar barrage. Looks like the heavy mortar barrage is right here, which should have been cast a little bit better on the press and suppress unit, but either way, it will force back those squads. Got another off-map smoke from the officer as well. Very nice. This Panzer IV has not been repaired just yet. A lot of good hits there on that officer. But here on the Grenadiers, they do fall back, but they may be white because a lot of shock troops on the tree pathway is not really properly pursuing it. Combat engineer is trying to capture the MG42, does get a recapture as well, but probably need to fall back both those squads. Gets the gun immediately firing. Does suppress the Panzer squad right there. Shock troops do not receive a hit there from the Panzer IV. The hay bale managed to take the hit. Another Grenade Warfare hit there, wiping out the MG42. Now I got another incendiary barrage in this region. There's a lot of good targets for it. Relatively good incendiary barrage. Certainly the opponent doesn't move out of the way properly. Grenadiers do not retreat back, just get slightly singed there. The MG42 and the Vet 3 mortar do fall back.
Howitzer is ready for another salvo. We are losing a sector.
This Panzer IV has seen a bit of fire. He could push in a little bit more and hit that Penal Squad. Has plenty of health to work with. Up north, we got the T-70 still alive. Mostly been fully repaired. And the Grenadiers inside this garrison should be able to deal with the Penal Squad no problem. But that Shock Troop does pose a problem to it. Trying to go for a satchel charge there. Does get the satchel charge off and does get out of the garrison in time. I think one of the models got killed from it, however, from the collapsing building. But the other two does manage to escape on out of there. The semi-roll and miss there, and got another diversion of tactics being utilized. Getting some great hits there. Does fire a heavy mortar barrage on this location. Does fall back now. The combat engineers may receive some mortar hits in. Does knock him out of combat right there, and smoke rounds rain on in as well. Shock troops are engaging the Grenadiers at long range, but even though the Grenadiers only have 2 models, they should be able to win out that fight if they just stand at long range. Yes. Penal Squad is negative cover right there. The VP is captured by Soviet players. Combat engineers captured the munitions point now. And the T-70 is not close enough to this capture point to capture it up in the reconnaissance mode.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
Keep coming. We are ready to build it or blow it.
Grenadiers do peek after the VP. Combat engineers do go down.
Troops have been lost. Fire!
Still don't see Mechanized Armor Company. So he will not be deployed on IS-2 anytime soon until he gets that built. He has plenty of fuel to get the IS-2, just needs more manpower and the structure to be built. We got, of course, the Panzer Grenadiers in Blitzkrieg mode, or not Blitzkrieg mode, Combined Armed Tactics links nearby Panzer IV. Patrick's from behind the way forward, trying to hit that T-70. Does get direct hit there, does take it out.
Light howitzer.
Final grenade is thrown as well. He's not dodged there. In fact, he made it even worse. Penal squad here. You actually deploy out second penal squad of PDSs? What are you thinking? Way too many shock troops. Your opponent has so many Panzer IVs. Looks like this Pack 38 will get decrewed. Slowly.
The enemy has destroyed an anti-tank gun.
Now got Luft 18 to play on the field. Trying to hit this Grenade Warper. Gets a good hit there on the AT gun, which is actually another good target for him. Another round rains far. Next round could be quite deadly. Gets a good hit there on the shock troops, so he's standing right in the middle of that barrage. Another good hit there on another shock troop squad. That Luft 18 is probably pretty close to Veteran C1 right now. There's his Veteran C1 and then some. We also got something being called on there. I'm not sure what though. Looks like artillery officer's vector target. No, it's actually the heavy mortar barrage. Assault officers now falling back. Now Grenadiers firing a rocket grenade there. Like to get it caught in the house. Yes, it did.
Has been honored by bravery.
Penal squad are seeing quite a bit of fire there. Does pick up a model there. Both sides forced to fall back up here. We've got the shock troops receiving quite a bit of fire, including from the Grenade Warfare. Grenade Warfare at this 12 kills. And here comes another incendiary barrage, forcing back the MG42. No Mechanized Company just yet. Mechanized Armor Company. Oops, I hit the taskbar button. For the Wehrmacht player, we don't have Battle Phase 3, which is fine. That was probably a good idea to go for Battle Phase 3 since he has a huge stockpile of fuel and a bit of stockpile of manpower. It will, of course, get him some opportunities later on in case he so chooses. Definitely doesn't need any more fuel for the rest of the game. Or not likely. Another diversion being activated now. Shock troops are charging on forward, which will not go too well. Mortar hits, get some good damage on in, and the Grenadiers are following on back, but just a soft retreat. Got the MG42 in this region as well. Just press one squad. So how suppresses that squad? Here comes the heavy mortar barrage from the officer as well. The Central VP has been decaptured. Both those few squads are falling on back. Honestly, eyeing for these support weapons once again. In destroying that Zis gun is quite important, especially for the Panzer IVs. Combat engineers are advancing for a single model of them. Officer will need to fall back. Smoke rounds. And the Central VP is not captured on up. here. Panzer Grenadiers find some damage there on the Penal Squad. On a grenade thrown, but it was preemptive and gets minor splash there. These great hits there, and he will need to fall back a little shortly. Yep, Penal Squad gets forced on back. Shock Troops won't go ahead and win the engagement, however. As far rolls a miss into the heavy wall.
What do you want?
Now got a left 18 barrage raining on in somewhere. Right there, airburst rounds, not really hitting anything. Complete blind barrage. Grenadiers, of course, going to get overran. He doesn't really need to secure this fuel point because the Wehrmacht has plenty of fuel. And the Soviet player finally got out his mechanized armor company. And rather than saving for an IS-2, he's going for a T-34-76. I think at this point in time, IS-2 would be much better. But also the Katyusha would be a good option as well. I disagree with the T-34-76. I can see Su-85, I can see the IS-2, I can see... if you had a Zisk gun or two, I could see even the KV-8. As well as a Katyusha, but not a T-34-76 at this point in time. As much as I like that vehicle, this is not the good time for it.
The area has been secured. Good work.
Panzer IV and T-34 will find each other. Panzer IV gets a good frontal hit, or rear armor hit there. Panzer IV and T-34 engaging at close range. Panzer IV, of course, takes the advantage. T-34-76 rolls a miss as well. PTRS is starting to rain a shot in there. Panzer IV does roll a miss. And now the Panzer IV will start engaging the Penal Squad. You need to turn off prioritized fire. Penal Squad trying to go for a satchel charge. He needs to turn off prioritized fire. Those PTRS gets some good hits there as well. Multiple hits there. Grenadiers have recaptured the left 18. Looks like it was decreed by incendiary barrage, likely. Shock troops are going forward. These guys almost got burned alive, but they do survive. Now here comes the left 18 barrage onto a whole bunch of nothing. Looks like he's trying to barrage the VP, but it's currently on fire. Nope, I'm just casting, what's it called? Company Heroes 2 replays. Shock troops are getting overrunning the Pak 43, getting some good damage in there. Throws a frag grenade, which is not really needed at this point in time.
We have lost a Pak gun.
Shock troops are falling on back. This shock troops make its way forward. Not going to be very successful. The left 18 barrage has died down. So now you can somewhat safely capture the VP, even though it's going to be very exposed to the shock troops. Good mortar hits right there. Another great hit there. And the shock troops are falling on back. T-34-76 still right here, fully healed. Other Panzer IV has been repaired up as well. Shock troops are making an advance. We've got the officer here as well. Use diversion there. Panzer Grenadiers receive quite a bit of fire. You can use the Inspiring Aura, which does affect his Panzer IV as well. It does affect the vehicles. Get a faster reload rate. Panzer does connect the T-34. And right now, that Penal Squad is being ripped apart. Heavy mortar barrage right there. Wait, did the heavy mortar barrage? No, Pak 43 got that kill. At first, that was the heavy mortar barrage from the officer, but the Pak 43 was just one shot to finish it off. And more smoke.
The enemy is
Grenadiers falling back. I'm not sure what sort of that may have been a grenade there, but seemed a little bit too close to the Grenadiers. So it could have been a Grenade Warfare hit right there. PM41 trying to engage the Panzer IV, or should I say the Panzer IV engaging the PM41. Does force back the mortar. Nothing captured the central VP. We've got some S-mines being pulled out. Very nice. And the shock troops are receiving quite a bit of fire now.
Howitzer is ready for another salvo.
That is a sound indication that the officer can now bring another smoke barrage. More S-mines being deployed on out. And the MG42 could potentially find a burst there. It does go and suppress that shock troop there. And does force him back now. Finds an S-mine. Multiple S-mines. More and more S-mines being deployed out by the Wehrmacht player. Nice use of mortar smoke there. Very nice. I like seeing mortar smoke to cover advance. Though it's against really fighting against shock troops, and it's probably a good idea not to get out mortar smoke against shock troops. Because you rather want to see them and shoot them at long range. Shock troops moving their way forward, trying to get some hits there on the Grenadiers. Now we do got a penal squad over here with the DPS upgrade. Craft grenade fired, and it was pretty successful. And he does finish off that squad entirely.
Only 200 points remain. Double your efforts.
Left 18 barrage raining on in. Shock troops are capturing out the VP. Over here, we do got the combat engineers receiving a bit of fire. Shock troopers are now lobbing the way forward. Grenadiers, of course, have a rifle grenade, another grenade there. Fires a mortar barrage there, but it's been coming way too late to be any use. A heavy mortar barrage is really not that useful. But there is, of course, a lot of S-mines in this region. Of course, they can react like there. Shock troopers gets suppressed there. Panzer IV is advancing as well, getting some great hits there with the Grenade Warfare as well. Does do a full retreat now. Got another Zis gun out in the field. Finds another S-mine. He does find that S-mine field as well. does fall back there. And we'll find a whole lot of S-mines. Does avoid these S-mines there as well.
Are standing by.
He's been mining up the flanks, that's for sure.
Engineer standing by. Need a suicide squad?
Hans Grenadiers and Grenadiers making the way forward. Should be able to deal with the Penal Squad no problem. I was going for more and more infantry. An IS-2 would be great. A Katusha would be great. He has incendiary barrage for the Pack 38. Lower rank games in a nutshell. Rock grenade was fired. Gets a good hit there. And while I can understand people like losing squads, like not being as very, very skilled, or not paying attention, that's even an issue even with other players as well. It's decision making that's the biggest problem right now for the Soviet player. And he potentially could have got a wipe right there. He did so with the wipe there. We may see a bundle grenade right now. Ugh, he needs work on his preemptive grenades. He's been whiffing those quite horribly. But here comes Panzer Force, 1 now C2, getting some great work done on these Panzer Grenadiers.
Our HQ is under attack.
Now I've got this artillery officer here, does the crew of the PM-41. I don't think he can use the coordinated barrage or any of these abilities in the command sector, though. I could be mistaken about that. I really don't know that at the top of my head. Officer squad does fall back.
Engineers ready.
And the Soviet player looks like he's going to be backing out of the game now. And he has surrendered. This is Anagrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. That was not a good replay. Let's see, that was this one right here. Let's go for a 2v2 at this point in time. I think I may have cast this replay beforehand. Yeah, I did. Let's go for a 2v2 rather than 3v3. 3v3 is kind to cause too much lag spikes. Yeah, and I also cast that replay beforehand. Did I cast this replay? I really need to clean up some of these replays. This one, I do believe I have not. Or have I? I really need to look up what replays I haven't cast with Campiros. Oh, Campiros too, I should say. Let's see. Spike Rhythms does not sound familiar. Yep, I have not cast a replay with him before, so this is a replay I have not cast. Good. Greetings everyone, and Grade here for another Cub Heroes 2 replay. Spawn on the north side as a Soviet player of Seminole Chief. Spawning as ally as the British forces. We have Elcinios. Probably butchering that. On the south side as the red Wehrmacht player of BM Baya 1904, probably butchering that as well, and his teammate as the other Wehrmacht player, the magenta Wehrmacht player, we have Spiked Rhythm. We got two doctrinal lock-ins. We got Soviet Shock Army versus German Infantry Doctrine. German Infantry. It is a good doctrine. I say Stormtroopers, the fact that they can't get the 5-man squad upgrade really does hurt the Stormtrooper squad. Stormtrooper squads with MP40s just suck, in my opinion. And so, not getting a 5-man squad, just get even just basic bolt action rifles with 5-man squad wouldn't be half bad, and wouldn't be overpowered in my opinion. Of course, the 250 half track is very nice. The 5-man squad is very nice, especially for pioneers. If you ever had 5-man pioneers, flamer pioneers, they're actually pretty good. And of course, hold and assault, not really very useful ability, and fragmentation bombs, always useful ability. Of course, on the Soviet Shock Army, of course, have T-35s, always useful, PM-40, HM-38 120mm mortars, always nice to have, shock troops, always nice to have. Armored vehicle detection, completely worthless. And the 152mm artillery strike, nice to have. And of course, got another doctrinal lock-in of Lend-Lease Assault Regiment. We of course got, of course, it is a good infantry doctrine. The assault sections, the 81mm mortars is always nice to have. Got assault sections going around the flanks, trying to get some good damage on it. Will be spotted, will be pursued, receiving quite a bit of fire right there. Over here, we've got the Grenadiers behind the heavy cover there, very good position there, and we've got the Penal Squad advancing. We've got a M3 scout car right here. Assault section receiving quite a bit of fire as the MG42 is suppressing down this assault section now. The assault section is getting hit by the Pioneers. And this intersection does get inside the garrison right there. That'd be good fighting position for their garrison. And now we do have this Grenadier squad hiding from heavy cover there. And we'll get some good damage on. And Grenadiers will try and gauge the intersection at close range. Assault section is making their way forward, trying to decrew this. MG42 does force it back. Now got the Grenadiers advancing as well. Grenadiers making a soft retreat away. They're receiving a bit of fire. Now we've got a Wehrmacht sniper to being deployed on out, as these Grenadiers are receiving quite a bit of fire at close range.
The platoon command post is finished and ready for use.
Up north, we do have the Grenadiers. Penal Squad does receive a bit of fire there. We've got a medic being deployed out by the British forces, which is a good idea. Assault sections have, or any sort of close range squad, whether it be assault grenadiers, assault sections, or shock troops, all need their health be maxed out in order to be any sort of effectiveness. Ooh, and that sniper does eat a bullet right there. Now he's going to make his opponent eat a bullet. Intersection squad does fall back as well. And now we've got a flamer, a scout car being deployed on out. The flamer engineer has received a fire there, and now the Grenadier squad does fall back, unable to get out a Panzerfaust as the Penal squad does try to overrun it. And so far, no damage has come to the M3 scout car. Does not get the wipe there on that Grenadier squad. We've got these two squads here as well. Don't see any landmines or any teller mines in this region. So it looks like the Penal squad will engage quite easily from the light cover there. I've got these Grenadier squads pushing the way forward, trying to get some good damage on in. These squads do fall back in time as these forces does collapse on in. We're sending quite a bit of damage right there. Imperial squad is trying to capture the VP now. Infantry section and the assault infantry section making their way forward, forcing back the Grenadier squad. And we do have the sniper and LMG squad in this region. The sniper needs maximum range, so does the LMG. The assault sections want to get nice and close. Now we do got a squad of assault grenadiers, which I highly disagree with assault grenadiers. Have I not cast this replay before? I'm just gonna go ahead and turn on follow camera. Well, I'm just going to... Oh, he has his camera rotating in a weird array. Panzer Grenadiers and the assault sections do engage at close range. All the assault sections are quite wounded. Got a sniper shot there. Does do a full retreat. And this replay seems awfully familiar to me. While this is... Oops. Did fog of war. While the guys are fighting, let's double check over here. I could have sworn I'd gotten this replay. After this replay. Let me check the replays I haven't renamed yet. One of those things, like, I could have sworn I cast this replay. Nice flamer hit there, takes out the Panzer Grenadier with an ICE 120mm mortar. The other Grenadier squad is advancing or withdrawing, trying to avoid that fire. Now these Grenadiers trying to advance. We do have this penal squad still in the region, getting quite... It is quite wounded. We'll have jump versus a Grenadier. Assault sections are trying to capture this cutoff point. They will get the cutoff point, no problem. Magentas capture the central point here. Nothing really assaulting each other. Blues make his way forward to there's the VP as I'm trying to check my replays. I got a lot of stuff I need to rename. A lot of companies one replay, so I may need to start tripling up the replays per day. Maybe this replay was corrupted. Grenadiers are seeing quite a bit of fire there. This squad does fall back. This guy is quite wounded. We do have medics at home. Dream back early would keep reserve quite a bit of manpower. Got some Thompson upgrades that are coming out, being deployed out now. This Grenadier squad is being forced on back. As this Assault Grenadier squad is forced back as well. And this sniper could quickly go down to this penal squad, receiving lots of fire there, and with a very late retreat there. Rifle grenade is fired. Doesn't say the sniper. We only got one model kill there. A lot of damage, but not only one model kill there. Follow-up shots will take out one more model of penals. May get another. Does not. We've got a half-track. Looks like a 250 half-track deployed out by a Magenta as well. As the sandbags are seeing quite a bit of fire. So maybe a good idea to start finishing off those sandbags. Have I really not cast this replay before? Because it seems really familiar to me. Oh well. Does use the medical supplies there on this Grenadier squad. Very nice. We've got the Panzer Grenadiers loaded back the 250 half-track. 250 half-track has, what, 9-something armor? Which makes it very resilient to fire.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Royal Engineers do fall back. More Thompson research. Very nice. So intersections trying to close the distance. We're seeing a bit too much fire there. Incendiary grenade is thrown. A white phosphorus grenade, I should say. That squad does fall back. Could potentially be wiped by these forces. And this Soul section does try to go in for the sniper. Doesn't get the wipe there, however. His forces pushing way forward. Does receive a frag grenade there onto the Assault Grenadier squad. All the squads are falling back. Of course, still got the half-track still very much alive. Rifle grenade thrown. Getting some very, very weak splash damage there. And with none of these guys actually upgraded PTRSs, they can't throw any AT satchels there. Nor really effectively fire at close range. This half-track could be a bit more aggressive. Trying to turn forward, maybe try and bluff out the lack of a... Maybe thinking that he's going for PTRSs. They're going for a satchel charge, sticky satchel charge, but did not. This half-track receiving quite a bit of fire right there. 80 gunshot does roll a miss there on the half-track. And now got some Pino PTRSs there. It takes out the half-track and gets to the Panzer Grenadier models with it.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Does throw a round there on the assault intersection. That's the squad he wants to hit. And in getting out... Oh, white phosphor smoke there. Getting out a brief burst could potentially suppress both those squads. The MG42 is slowly making the way back. Royal Engineer Squad will receive Assault Grenadiers. They are trying to go for grenades. It does cancel a grenade there. It has laid down Tellermine there, but it is actually swept and spotted. You could potentially throw a grenade on top of it if he had Mills bomb research. Regular smoke grenade throw there, very nice. Just to allow the intersection from sand, less fire right there. Over here, the smoke grenade was thrown by the shock troops now, and a pair of rifle grenades takes out that penal PTRS squad. Ooh, these guys are very, very bunched up. Satchel charge right there. Oh, it's a... Doesn't get any models right there. They may have got one of its own penal models there, but that was pretty close. Good try with that. Rifle grenade fired. Does avoid it right there. He heard the sound. That's my impression of how to make that sound. We do have the M3 half-track, or not half-track, M3A1 white scout car being pushed his way over here. We've got a nice mortar hit as well. Next 100mm mortar raining on in. May get another good hit there. They're pretty wounded. But note they try to hit the Grenadiers. Shock troops are trying to push their way forward. We got a Stug Eaton on the bottom of the field. Didn't mention that he's gone for mechanized assault doctrine. He's actually that half-track was actually pulled out by Magenta, not by Red. Stormtroopers are quite wounded right there. Does fall back. And it's got these conscripts trying to gauge these Royal Engineers, but the Royal Engineers get some good damage in. Proceed the sniper shot there. Had the Minesweeper, which reduces the damage output. Sniper does find a hit there on the assault intersection there. MG42 does suppress two of these squads. If he continues hitting some of these other squads, maybe he'll get some more AoE suppression, but he's constantly hitting this intersection squad. That's not the squad he wants to hit. Rocket grenade was fired. Cromwell's making his way forward as well. Pack 40 does find a good hit there onto the Cromwell. And over here, looks like the Pioneer squad is falling back. Got the Grenadiers advancing. They got some Stug shots into the assault sections. Getting some good hits there now. Does fall back. Carmelos makes his way forward, finds a good hit there onto the Pioneer squad. Stug fires a shot, rolls in a big miss, and the Pack 40 does find a hit there as well. Good hit there. We got the intersection, makes his way forward, trying to capture off the point. He does get a good hit there, but only gets damage, not models. And of course does have the medics at home. N3 is still very much alive.
Detection of enemy vehicles can now be achieved.
Kino squad does receive a sniper shot there from Red Sniper. Magenta Sniper, of course, went down a long time ago. Pair of stick grenades were thrown. He does, of course, dodge them. 100mm mortar, try to fire around. Does roll a miss there. Some smoke raining on in as well. Stokes now makes his way forward, trying to hit some of these forces now. Good hit there, a nice 100mm mortar hit. The assault grenadiers won't even fall back. Both these Stugs are advancing. Both got 2 Stug E's. Entry forward 2, trying to fire on these forces. Let's force back the Grenadiers. Up here, do got the Grenadiers advancing. Rifle grenade fire, gets a good hit there, and good follow-up shots as well. Almost wiping out the squad. May wipe out the squad, does not wipe out the squad. A good 120mm mortar hit there. Intersection squad does get suppressed and pinned. Grenadier firing some shots onto the intersection there now. Also got some hits there on the Cromwell tank. Over here, we've got these forces advancing. Got a Panzerfaust onto the Cromwell tank, stunning or snaring it. But Stuggies won't be able to deal much damage to it. Assault intersections going for the cutoff point once again, and the munitions point as well. Good white phosphorus there. Gets the decrew there on the Pack 40. He could potentially capture the Pack 40 and fire some shots in the Stuggies. Won't accomplish all too much, but can. One weak hit there. Other Stug trying to get some shots on in. Gets received some hits there, and mostly thanks to these Grenadiers able to get a decrew. Nope, fragmentation bombs were thrown. A complete waste of fragmentation bombs onto that assault section. We also got the 6-man squad upgraded here. T-45 rolls some hits there. And the Pack 40 does get decrewed. Cromwell's advancing, trying to get some shots on in. Does get a recruit there, hops over the wall there, gets immediately decrewed. Stug does find a rear armor hit there on the Cromwell, doing very little damage. Pack 40 finds a hit, however.
Our capture point. They're trying to take it.
Pack 40 finds another hit right there. This Pack 40 can be reclaimed as well. Carmel's still in the region. Stug advancing. Pack 40 trying to find a hit there. Stug will need to fall back. Really should not have gone aggressive right there. May get pursued. This one does have Petrus 2-1, so potentially could get a stun shot there, and there goes the other Stug.
We have lost a Panzer.
Shock troops trying to pursue these Grenadiers. Maybe they'll get them. May get the decrew on the Pack 40 as well. Got 2 squads of Grenadiers in the region. And Stug finds a shot there on the Penal squad. Rifle grenade fired. Gets a decent rifle grenade shot there on that Penal squad.
Help me, please. I can't stand the pain.
It does find some S-mines here. reinforced mines were found there. Rifle grenade was not fired right there. May see a Panzerfaust there. It will be 3 shots till death if he gets the Panzerfaust off. That Panzerfaust will fire. Does get the kill there. Does run over the one Mauler's wall at it. Fires off another Panzerfaust, but I don't think that's making enough for a difference. Red has flat out Panther now. Do have something being pulled on it. Looks like the 152mm barrage there. Got the pack. T-54-85 some hits there as well. Pack gun finds a hit as well. And the Panther's non-prioritized fire, so it's getting distracted by all the infantry in front of them. Barrage raining on in, trying to hit these forces, largely scattering everywhere around the forces. Pioneers may receive a hit. Panther receiving quite a bit of fire now. Receives a hit there from the 6-pounder. And we also got these PTRS shots there, and Panther is now receiving T-34-85 shots there, and the 6-pounder does get the kill there on that Panther. Fragmentation bomb, no light artillery barrage not raining on in. Gets a good scatter right there. Does fall back to both of these weapons. Stokes finds some shots there on the infantry section. Does get him out of the garrison now. Rifle grenade fire, trying to hit that, trying to decrew that 110mm mortar. Does fall back there.